If you're struggling with knee and lower back pain, then everything I'm sharing with you today could be your way out of it. Simple drills like this are great for getting the average person out of pain. But if you want to be an athlete, if you want to make sure you don't have to take a whole week to recover after a game, if you want to demand more out of your body to live an above average life, then you have to do more than just these endless drills. For somebody like you, the focus needs to be on expanding ability. I often get asked from my clients, what about my condition? I always take notes and I listen to them and understand the limits that have been placed on them, but my answer is almost always the same. What about your ability? What are you able to do right now? Okay, let's work on that. So focusing on that ability is what allows you to then demand more out of your life, because when demand exceeds ability, that's when pain comes in. It's a signal telling your body that you can't handle that right now. So when we focus on expanding that ability, it allows you to handle more stress into the lower back, into the body. So today I'm going to be showing you guys some exercises that have helped me get out of lower back pain. I used to have chronic back pain, and it stemmed from a herniated disc that I suffered while just playing football with some friends. Honestly, if I had been a lot stronger and more mobile, it probably wouldn't have happened. Like, I was just taking off for a sprint, and next thing I know, I'm at a doctor's office and he's like, hey, you herniated a disc. Kind of wish I never got that diagnosis, because it led me to just rest for a couple months and things just got worse. I lost muscle, I got big. It took me a lot to get back from that. So if I had just done some of the things that I'm going to show you today at a level that I could have done at the time and expanded on that, I think I would have recovered a lot quicker. So we're going to break it down into 3 parts. First, below the lower back, around the lower back, above the lower back. This is my favorite exercise for increasing that lower back ability, because it strengthens and lengthens the inner thigh muscles. The more flexible your muscles are, the more access you have, the better positioning you have for the lower back without rounding. So being able to resist here, resisting rounding, gives you more strength in things like a squat. We actually get a lot of this stretch when we're resting in this natural squat position, but because nowadays we sit in a chair for up to 10 or more hours a day, these muscles tend to get really tight. So you can actually start this, even assisted if you needed to, maintaining the arch in the lower back, and start with any weight, even just your own body weight. Being able to do 20 reps here with intention can actually be quite challenging for some people. You can even load it with dumbbells here, even using a chair. You can actually use a bench to stop yourself short so that it feels safer. And this allows you to then pinpoint the exact moment your lower back starts rounding, so that if it does, you can just raise it up a little bit to reduce that range of motion so that you don't end up hurting yourself, right? So I actually had a lot of clients start at 45 degrees, and then within a month or two, they're already getting down to 15 degrees. So you see how much more range of motion you get in here, how much more freedom to move in this stronger position versus this flex spine position, where a lot of people are even told not to round their backs, but we actually want the ability to do both. And then for sports, you can actually continue to strengthen this by using a barbell. You see this position in a lot of sports, you're a lot stronger here than you would be if you had no access to this athletic positioning. And because we sit so much, even as students, during the day, you also actually lose the ability in the front of the hip. So that's why my next favorite exercise is going to be this full range of motion split squat, not with this passive rear leg, but actually contracting through so that you're strengthening and lengthening this rear hip flexor, and actually using this leg on your way up to assist you, as well as the front leg. From a traditional split squat, it's usually taught like this. Even if it's a knee over toe split squat, usually taught with the shoulders rounded forward without much emphasis on this rear hip flexor. But in the ATG system, you want to keep that chest upright, keep this back leg off the ground, and actually emphasizing the strength here as well as the front leg. So you're correcting any imbalances between legs and the front leg, as well as lengthening and strengthening this rear hip flexor, reversing the effects of sitting and restoring the body's natural ability. So if this rear leg is keeping you from straightening up the chest because it's so tight, you can actually elevate and scale this ability by raising this front foot. Rear leg is no longer touching the ground. I'm able to stay a little bit more upright. But even if you're too tight here, you can regress and even use a chair for upper body assistance. Scales from assisted to unassisted to lowering the front foot elevation. So then actually loading the movement and getting your knees and hip flexors stronger in these positioning, lowering that front foot with the goal of being able to hit this flat ground, and eventually loading with the goal of being able to do this with about 25% of your body weight on each hand for about 5 reps. I think it's a great goal for longevity. When I started this, I was actually so stiff that I had to elevate, and even then I couldn't keep my back straight. But over time, I found that if you hold this bottom position and focus on lengthening this rear leg until it gets easy, then you can actually make faster progress. Holding this bottom position, 5 seconds, then coming back up can help you make faster progress. Now, getting into the lower back, we want that ability to resist rounding of the lower back. With a lighter weight, you actually want to pursue that ability to round the lower back. You have a lot more freedom if you're able to be strong in both of these positions. Rounding with lighter weight, you can even actually start assisted, placing your palms on a raised surface and going from both knees bent, straightening one, both knees bent, straightening one, going back and forth, putting some light tension in the hamstrings, and working at the same time on that ability to round the lower back, with the goal of getting here, being able to keep both legs straight to fall over flat ground. With proper equipment, you can actually scale this ability with a considerable amount of load using a back extension machine. And even this, you can start with holds at the top to doing assisted partial reps, assisted full reps, and then body weight, and then increasing with load. Continuing with around the lower back, there is a muscle called quadratus lumborum, quad meaning four-sided, lumborum meaning of the lumbar spine or lower spine. And you're strengthening and stretching this muscle with the QL extension using a 45-degree back extension machine. I like to put one hand behind the head, looking up at my elbow to help me stay straight, and then reaching down with this hand. And even this scales from assisted to unassisted to then loaded. You can start without equipment. Here I'm just using a wall, going from side to side, and because of leverage, using a really light load can actually be quite challenging. Plus you're getting a nice added stretch into the inner hamstring here when you do this on the ground. Even here, assisted into body weight, into loaded, you don't need to push through pain. You can start with less than body weight to create a step-by-step route to get you out of pain into greater ability. Continuing above the lower back, you can do a pullover with a wall. Further you back up, the more intensity there's going to be. Closer you place your hands, the more stretch you'll get. Same thing, further hands apart, a little bit less stretch, and coming a little bit closer forward, a little bit less intensity. If you have a bench, being parallel to the bench makes it easier. And if you want more stretch, you can actually go across the bench. So keeping the hips down, trying to get the arms straight as you can, trying to get the elbows below the shoulders, bringing the dumbbell back up as if you're trying to close the garage door, trying to use the chest and the lats as much as possible. Pro tip is actually using 2 dumbbells so that it helps correct imbalances between each shoulder, and you're able to get a little bit deeper here, a little bit more focused on mobility. Also really like to pause at the bottom because I have tighter shoulders, and this helps me open up and breathe better. The trap 3 raise is what I like to call the hardest exercise known to modern man. Works those muscles that challenge your posture, and we're always kind of slumped over like this at our desk, sitting very often, and we don't really use this overhead stability much. So these are the lower trap muscles that we're training here directly, and these muscles have a lot to do with those things. Overhead stability, posture, and everybody I've trained is really weak at this. Bringing the shoulders back and down, keeping the hands together at the beginning, and then coming out into a Y, like you're doing the YMCA. And from here, controlling the weight down. So the arms should be about 45 degrees from the shoulder, and really emphasizing that eccentric to control the weight down. So again, shoulders back and down, lock it in, bring it up together, and then separate into a Y, about 45 degrees from each other, controlling the weight down. You're going to feel a big burn in those lower traps that connect to your lower back. And this is very crucial We're working those muscles above the lower back. So you can do these on an incline bench at 45 degrees or a 45-degree back extension where you have to lock out the glutes, the lower back in this 45-degree position. And the form is the same here. Coming up like this, controlling the weight down. But if you don't have any equipment, you can make a lot of progress here by working on a wall. So coming into a squat position, hinging at about 45 degrees, like the bench and the back extension, and then doing these in the same way, controlling on the way down without extending at the hips. So maintaining that position, locking in the 45-degree angle, raising the hands, trying to get the elbows above the ears, and then controlling the eccentric. This is an added bonus of mobility exercises that you can do before or after each leg day. Weak or tight hip muscles can lead to poor alignment and movement patterns in the legs, which can place excessive stress on the knee joint and cause pain. By strengthening and improving the flexibility of these hip muscles, improve knee stability, reduce pain, and alleviate knee pain and lower back pain. My 3 favorite stretches to improve lower back and knee ability are the pigeon good morning to gain strength through length in the outside of the hip, scaling from elevating the knee and working to doing this on flat bench or on the floor, strengthening with assisted with 2 hands to 1 hand, to doing this without hands. To get to flat bench quicker, you actually want to really think about pushing out with this foot, right? So pushing the foot out, externally rotating that hip. You're going to be working from 2 hands. As you reduce the amount of assistance, your glute has to work more. So this active position will help you get stronger quicker, which means that you'll get more flexible quicker as well. So I always tell my clients that you can progress from these 2 hands to putting 1 hand behind the back, and then even work towards finger push-ups before you can progress to doing this without any assistance. And my lovely wife can actually do this with a bar on her back, which is insane, but shows that there's levels to this. Next are pancake good mornings. Bring your toes, feet as wide as you can, point the toes forward, and you're gonna basically try to get to the ground, starting with the hands and working towards the elbows. And ultimately the goal is to get your forehead to the ground, keeping your legs straight, being able to come back up out of that position. So you can actually start with an elevated surface and assisting yourself when you're doing reps here, and progress being able to doing this on the floor. Do these on the ground if you can't quite balance well, and use a band for added load or a cable. Then comes the couch stretch to lengthen the hip flexors. You can use a mat for the most comfort, but you can also use a bench or a couch. Either of those is too uncomfortable. You can use an incline bench to increase the elevation as you progress. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope that this video can be helpful to you. I really just wanted to show you that you don't have to work through pain. You can actually start with less than body weight to create a step-by-step route to get out of pain into greater ability. It's worked for me. I help my clients do this all the time. I really hope that it works for you. If you're looking for guidance from an expert on how to do this exact routine and all the exercises, how to program this into your daily routine, then I've put a link in the description where you can apply to work with me one-on-one so that I can help you get there faster. If you haven't done so already, make sure to subscribe. I put videos like this all the time. I just want to be of service. Until next time, guys, make sure to tune in for more videos on physical freedom.